Is this the life that you would have chosen for yourself? From the moment you're born, you are placed into a man-made construct. You're assigned a name, you're assigned a role and a purpose within a system that is designed to keep you working, not questioning. The Industrial Revolution shaped the world that we live in now. Before there were factories, work was tied to survival. Growing food, building shelter, and industrialization transformed this, and people became workers, and their lives revolved around production. But why do we still structure our lives like we're in 19th century factories? The 9-to-5 grind, retiring at 65. It's all so arbitrary and outdated. 90+% of people experience burnout, and these feelings of burnout and apathy and disinterest are not signs that you're lazy or you can't handle it. They're signs of awakening. They're signs that you're waking up out of the slumber that you've been in. Your soul isn't rejecting work because you're lazy. It's rejecting it because what it's actually rejecting is the idea that your life should be spent chasing arbitrary goals. Society gaslights us into thinking that wanting freedom makes us ungrateful or entitled or irresponsible or selfish. Productivity is this virtue, while rest and exploration are seen as wasteful and a luxury. By the way, if you can hear that noise, the water filter likes to do that sometimes, and it chose to do it right now. So that's cool. So many people are working so hard because they think that that's what they need to do to succeed. If working as hard as possible was guaranteed to get you the success that you want, every janitor, every delivery driver, every nurse would be rich. These people work harder than anyone. Have you noticed that the wealthiest people often work the least, and they control the most resources, and they have tons of free time, and they know how to leisure, if that's a verb. They're very familiar with a leisurely lifestyle. They understand that time is your most precious and valuable asset, and aren't gonna fucking waste it trading their time for money for somebody else to fill someone else's pockets. The smart people are trying to get back their time, and the really, really smart ones are making more and more money the more and more time they're getting back. The system that we're in, it's not designed to reward you for working harder. It's actually designed to keep most people in survival mode, getting by just enough, scraping up enough money every 2 weeks to pay for your food and your health insurance and your car insurance and your mortgage. Who is benefiting from you believing that this is the only option? It's not you. You are not benefiting from this. In fact, you are sacrificing your life at your core. I think about this all the time because whenever I think about something that bothers me or frustrates me or I don't understand, like when you start to wake up out of this matrix slumber that everyone's under, you just start to question everything, right? And like if you can just remove yourself from our society and our culture here on planet Earth and look at this from a broader perspective, like we're humans on Earth, just like every other animal on the planet. We are the ones who created this system that we need to work to earn money to survive. Who decided this? God didn't decide this. You were not placed on this universe to work in order to earn a place here. Now, I understand we all need to operate within the society, but there are ways to exist here without playing that game. And if you still believe that you need to be clocking into a 9-to-5 or working your ass off at some job in order to pay all the bills and just stay afloat, you really need to reevaluate. I really struggle to believe that we were placed on this beautiful planet to spend 2/3 of it slaving away to earn a few bucks, doing something that we don't even love doing. That is such a waste of a life. That it's not why you're here. You were not born to clock in and out of work for 40+ hours a week. Your worth and value are inherent. They don't exist because you work some job. They exist because you are alive. This planet is so breathtaking. There are so many beautiful mountains and oceans and forests and cultures and art and cities and landscapes. There's too much to see. You could never see it all in a lifetime, but I'll be damned if I'm not going to try. I refuse to get to the end of my life wishing that I had spent it differently and wishing that I had worked less. You hear so many people say that on their deathbed. I wish I hadn't worked as much. I wish I had spent more time with family. I wish I had spent more time traveling. I wish I had spent more time doing things I love. I wish I had had the guts to take a risk and do the things that I love. Don't be one of those people. And I get it. Work is like tied to our identity. From childhood, you're always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like happy, free, joyful. But very early on, our value is tied to the career path that we're choosing. And even as adults, the first thing someone asks you is, what do you do, right? I still do this to people, but not because I'm not placing value. I just am genuinely curious how people spend their time, you know? Because yes, I do massage and I got a lot of free time, but I just like to know how people spend their time. I think for a lot of people, I don't identify with my job. That's why when people ask me, I say I'm a massage therapist. I reluctantly say it at this point because it's not even my passion anymore. I love doing it, but it's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I don't like that label being slapped on me. But I think a lot of people are really identified with their title. Who would you be without that title, without your paycheck, without your resume? My resume is a fucking joke. It's a joke. I've been a yoga teacher, a massage therapist. I've worked construction. I've been a server. I worked at Whole Foods. That's my resume. But I don't care. To me, it's so irrelevant. It's like so irrelevant. I could not fucking care less about it. Not to mention the fact that work is not going to exist in the way that we know it today for very much longer. I don't know if people understand how much AI is going to transform every single thing about our existence. You already see it. AI is taking over so many jobs. It's helping people get so much more work done with so much less effort. So the sooner that you can actually embrace it and put it to work for you and find ways to allow AI to replace you in the workforce, and at the same time allowing you to continue to generate income and generate even more and more income, get it to work for you so that it frees up your time. This is actually a beautiful, beautiful time to exist because we are being given a gift. We're being given the opportunity to get our lives back and our time back and to be able to just explore and enjoy and travel and play and do whatever we want with our time while AI and technology is working for us to generate income. I use ChatGPT to help me write scripts, to help me think of thumbnail ideas, to help me come up with keywords for my videos. And it's like your little assistant. It's like your little sidekick, and it gets to know you and it learns your tone and your attitude and your delivery and your perspective. And it's collaborative. I'll have a conversation with it where we're trying to suss out and work out how I want to communicate what I'm saying. And if it comes across too like cheesy or just cliche or superficial, which it often does have kind of like very generic self-help vibe to it, I will have to have a conversation with it and tell it that's not how we talk around here. And it helps me. It saves me so much time. You can tell it to write you a freaking book, and it uses your own input, and you can tell it what you want to discuss and what your perspective is and what angle you want to take. And it will come up with an entire book, chapter by chapter, point by point. And you can then dig into it even further and say, I'd like to expand on this topic. Can we go deeper into this? Can we shift the perspective here? I'd like to actually talk about this more from this angle rather than that. It's so freaking cool. You can create whatever you want. You can create the life that you want now using AI. And this is what smart people are doing. So if you're not aware and if you're not using it, somehow, somewhere in your life right now, I do not actually know what you're doing because you are missing out on a huge opportunity. But this is how you get your life back. This is how you reclaim the freedom that is your birthright. What I think people really need to do is redefine what is truly important to you. You need shelter. Yes. You need food. Yes. You need love. Yes. You need connection. Yes. And you need purpose. Yes. But you don't need a career ladder. You don't need a fancy title. There are so many alternatives to that way of thinking and that way of approaching your life. There are so many different ways to live your life. I have been a minimalist for so long. You would be amazed at how little you actually need to survive. Even the amount that I have, and aside from furniture that I bought when I had my apartment, everything I own fits in my truck for the most part now. And it always has. And even that feels like too much. Even that amount of stuff stresses me out. Well, now I have my camper too that has stuff in it. See, it's just like, God, you accumulate more and more and it's so stressful. I hate owning things. I really do. It's like such a burden. It's such a trap. It is such a trap. But first thing is you just don't need as much as you think you do. The second thing is there are so many ways to make money. There are people who are digital entrepreneurs. There are people who create something. Like, think about someone who writes a book, right? You write the book once and then you continue to sell it over time. It's like music. You make the record and then someone buys it over time. And yes, you're working and you're creating more, but really you're immersed in your artistic endeavor. You're doing something that lights you up, that you love, that actually gives you energy. And that's really the key, is find something that energizes you. The more that you do it, the more energy you receive. I will give an example. Creating these YouTube videos. This does not drain me whatsoever. In fact, this gives me so much energy and makes me feel more passionate and more excited. And that's how I know that I'm meant to be doing it. And one day I know that what I'm doing and what I'm creating here is going to result in some type of income. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I have no idea. I don't know what it's going to look like. I just know that that's going to happen and I trust it, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I love doing it. I'm doing it because I've wanted to do it for so long. I knew that I had to do it. If there's something inside of you that you want to be doing and you don't know how it's going to work and how it's going to make you money and is it realistic, just forget about all of that and just do it. Seriously, you just have to trust and do it. I promise you, the path will appear before you as you progress along it. You're not going to see it before that though. Like, the universe isn't going to just show you everything before you take the risk. That's part of it. Part of this is trust and faith. You have to step into that faith. Otherwise, the path is not going to be laid out before you. So find the things that excite you. Build a life around freedom, not obligation. Ask yourself, do you really need everything that you're working for? Why do you want the things that you want? Is it because you think that it will reward you with a level of status and recognition? What is it really going to give you? Find a way to prioritize time for yourself, for your passions, for the people that you love, and learn to deprogram all of the societal messages about productivity and success, because they're fucking with your head. If you do not wake up to this now, you're going to blink and most of your life will be gone. Simple question. If you didn't need to work, what would you do? Where would you go? The system that we're living in thrives when people stay asleep, but you have the power to choose a different path. You just need to wake up. It's not nap time anymore. All right, you guys, thank you for watching.
First of all, I'm surprised you could manage to fill 14 minutes basically without repeating yourself. I don't think I can do that, or I have been able to do that in the past. If I talk for more than a minute, I'm already saying things twice. The first thing that comes to my mind is, how the hell did you afford this place? I mean, I don't know if where you live things are extremely cheap, or if what I'm looking at was way cheaper than I would think it is. But it's not like you can, like you said in your thumbnail, just play, that you can afford a cozy, comfortable, healthy house in a good neighborhood, which is what might seem to somebody watching this video. Sure, you can now, right now, go to the middle of the wilderness and live for free for the rest of your life. You can sleep for free in a rock shelter that, if you grab some heavy rocks or something sturdy enough, can close during the night so that you can sleep peacefully. I mean, will you be warm? I have no clue. Maybe do some fire inside before you close the door. You basically put some water in it or something, and then it might be warm enough, and if you have enough clothes or blankets or whatever. When you wake up, I mean, sun is free, resting is free, enjoying, just if you have a partner or kids, just playing around is free. Whenever you get hungry, hunting is free. The meat or the fish or the eggs, or if it's the autumn, the fruit and honey are all free. Yeah, you can live that sort of life, and you don't need nothing besides like clothing, maybe a spear for hunting, a knife for cutting up the animals, since we don't have claws or usable canines. You can have that life for free. You can just play, so to speak. Although your partner will have to go hunt, you will have to stay at home taking care of the kids that are newborns. And yeah, so you have a sort of work still, you have occupations, you have responsibilities still. You say you've been to think you need to work. I mean, if you want this sort of thing that you see on the background, I do believe that you actually need to, unless you inherit it some way. But there are other ways other than a 9 to 5 to actually reach this. And the best one depends on who you are. You see, there is this magic thing that we are all born with. If you use your intuition, which comes from Latin intuere, which means to contemplate what comes from inside. If you contemplate what comes from inside, as in you do what you feel like doing all of the time, and you take that leap of faith, trusting what you feel like doing. Oh, right now I don't feel like going to the dinner with my father, for example. Oh, right now I don't actually feel like doing this work or whatever. If you gradually adapt your life more and more so that you can be in bed when you want to be in bed, so that you can only go shopping when you feel like going shopping, when, even though you have responsibilities, you have freedom to do them whenever you want, and to not do them if they are the type that you don't actually ever want to do. Then it's great. For some people, if you trust your gut, which is what you feel like doing every day, I mean, you don't have to reason whatsoever. You feel like doing something, you just go do it, just like a pet, just like children of like up to 2 years old. And some people will naturally have an inclination to build a business. Other people might have an inclination even to have not necessarily a 9 to 5, but actually to be an employee, and to feel fulfilled doing so. I would say for the vast majority of people, something like being a freelancer would be the most free way of living. For example, you can cut the weeds with a weed whacker, or however it's called in English. And so you have some clients and they want their weed cut. So you tell them, next week or the other I'll go there. And once you feel like going, you just hop on to their house and just cut the grass, whatever. So you have freedom to do the jobs when you feel like doing. You have a range, as in starting date, end date. If you make a website, oh, what's the deadline? Oh, it's in August. Okay, I'll have your website done until August. And then, like for example, in March, you show them the progress, how it is looking, and in April and May, you show them the more close you are getting to the end, so that by the deadline, it's not only completed but corrected and tested to make sure it works properly, etc. So yeah, but just by living as a freelancer, which curiously has the word free in it, and I believe, I imagine being a massage therapist, like you're doing any sort of therapy just by massaging somebody, um, might be fitting in that regard. Also talking about minimalist, I don't see minimalism there. I see a plant, two, three plants, although two seem like they are plastic. We are inside the house. Why do you have plants inside? Um, well, I mean, put them in the windowsill or something, if you still want to see them from the kitchen. Then a bunch of containers. Yeah, I see a bunch of crap on the counter. I don't know why do you need so many stuff. Then I see a stove, two ovens, or one is a microwave. Why do you need to cook food? I mean, to warm it up, I understand it, but to cook, I don't really. I mean, have just an air fryer. You have a sink, yeah, counter, well, whatever. That's perfectly fine. So already I can see that you would just need mostly half or a third of what I'm seeing. You have way too many cabinets. Unless you typically have 20 people dining at your house on a weekly, you don't need this many cabinets. Yeah, if you eat naturally, as I mentioned earlier, you can for sure downsize tremendously from what you have. I mean, unless you are that type of person with huge social environments in your place, with a lot like party sort of environment, you can live with what fits within a car, and you should. I mean, depending on how many children you have. I mean, if you have like 5 children, maybe you need a minibus. If you have like 8 children, maybe like a school bus. If you're just by yourself, for sure, like an SUV will be more than enough for you to live comfortably. I mean, in size, in terms of what stuff you have. So yeah, the average van that campers use, it's more than okay for a couple for when they are their firstborn. So yeah, I mean, downsizing is great. So if you are just listening to this video and you think, yeah, maybe I don't want to continue this sort of lifestyle, working every single day, even when I don't want to. I mean, you probably have a car, maybe you not. It depends. If you are in a huge city with great public transportation, you probably just use the metro and the buses and whatnot. But in other cases, you might just swap your car for a sort of bigger one, which is comfortable enough to put a bed on and for you to have a sitting place. In that sitting place, you can work on your computer, and when you go to bed, I mean, it's just behind the two seats. And depending on the size of your family, you can choose a bigger or smaller vehicle. And then you can freelance, whether from your car, from your chair, comfortably, where you watch some videos, and you don't need no Tesla or whatever. You just have your laptop in your lap or in the tablier, the dashboard, and yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be comfortable. Yeah. So the thing is, we we not only need way less than we think we do, we typically feel more comfortable, more light having less. You see, most people have great pleasure and feel very uh, well, very light during vacations, which is curiously the time of their lives they usually just grab what's really essential. And what is essential in most cases is just some clothes, maybe your phone, maybe your computer because you like to watch some videos or some movies, or maybe you do need to also work online or something. And that's the moments we feel better. So traveling, like traveling is a cope really, as much as a career obsession is. You only know you want to travel because you've seen photos and videos. If you never saw, at the most you'd walk and walk and walk and explore around your living area. I mean, living area, not sorry for the mistranslation. I don't mean as in living room area. I mean around where you live, where you were born and grew. So you will only move if the weather and the abundance in terms of animals for you to hunt would change, making it less ideal. As long as you live in a up to moderate climate, you can live in a very warm, very comfortable climate, and you can go up to moderate. I wouldn't go farther from there. And and you have plenty of animals to hunt. I mean, what the hell more do you need? And when you said just back then that you need to fit in society somehow, you don't. You can just live like a feral human. Thanks for watching.